Hello, my beautiful people. Hello, my friends. It has been such a long time since the girls has been on the camera talking to you, geeking with you, sharing what's been going on with you. It's been a minute, and I've been wanting to make a video for a long time, but I've been spending a lot of time thinking about what I want to say, how I want to say it, and just kind of thinking about just where do I even begin, because this year was a shit show. But we thank God for his grace, we thank God for his mercies. I passed my first year of medical school. I didn't have to remediate anything, and I'm just so happy and grateful that I was able to get through this year. And this has been honestly one of the hardest years of my life, and medical school challenged me in ways that I was not expecting, and it taught me some really big girl lessons. So I'm really excited to share with you guys how my first year went, to recap, but then also just talk about some of the really important life lessons I learned this year and how they're going to inform how I move in the future. This was a really hard year, especially second semester. The devil is a liar. Second semester really did try the girls. It really did try me. Like, I had my own health scares, and then family members were getting sick, and amongst all that, just balancing school life, my responsibilities, everything. Y'all, I almost did not make it. And the thing about me is, not every battle that I fight that I share with you guys. So it's like there's some things that are going on behind the scenes that I'm just like, the girls is going through it, and I just don't talk about it. We gonna get into all the kiki that was a second semester, but I want to kind of focus on the current right now before we go back into the past. But I'm super excited because this summer, at 2 months of summer break, we have June and July basically, because school starts back up in August. And y'all know I done started my pre-med Zoom parties, so that's been going on, so I'm super excited about that. The girls is also writing a manuscript as a first author, and I'm like, this is a huge accomplishment for me, and I've never written a paper before. So for me, it's like, wow, I'm really about to do some big girl things. I didn't have a lot of research experience in college, which I honestly, if there's one thing I could go back in my college experience and do, I'd honestly do more research, because a lot of the stuff that I'm even doing now, I kind of feel a little bit of imposter syndrome, because I'm having to catch up and learn and know okay, how do you write this, or what does this mean, or how do you draft the IRB and all that kind of stuff. So if there's one thing I could say, get some research experience in college. I don't think it can hurt, honestly. I'm excited about that. Got the pre-med Zoom parties, got the baby girl about to be a first author type-ish. Also interning for the diversity office from my school, and then I'm also working as a TA, and y'all know I got my personal statement things on the side. So the girls is booked and busy, and next week the girls is moving into her own apartment. This is the first time I'm gonna be living alone by myself ever, so it's a pretty big deal for me, and I'm super excited because I'm really at that age where I have to live alone. So I'm really excited. Definitely more money, but I think it's money well spent and worth being spent. As you can see, we are thriving. God is blessing us. I am shining. I'm doing the things I need to do, and my haters can kick rocks, honestly. Obviously, academics was challenging for me, but really I think the biggest challenge of med school for me was just the interpersonal aspect of it, the social aspect, and just navigating different spaces. I think that was really hard for me, and God taught me some really important lessons this year. Really, honestly, he did. And the kind of person I am, just naturally, the people who are really close to me, the people who really know me, the kind of person I am, I just have a natural distrust of people. I have my guard up. I'm very careful about who I let in, how I let them in. I'm just very mindful of the people I surround myself with, and I'm very mindful of how much of myself I give to others or I share with others, because knowledge is power, and when people know things about you, they can use it to either ruin your life, they can use it against you to blackmail you. So I don't know if it's the Nigerian in me, but I just have a natural just trust of people, and that's honestly probably why I'm going into medicine, because I don't trust the healthcare system either. So the only way the job is going to get done is if I do it. You can sense there's a bit of control hungry spirit in me, where like I kind of want to be able to, I want to feel in control of things, right? I feel like when you trust people, you're relinquishing some of that control because you are trusting that they're going to be the person you think they are. And this is not something that just happened overnight. That's why I say I don't know if it's a Nigerian thing, because I kind of grew up to be very mindful of people and careful that, you know, human beings, like, they can be evil, and honestly, it's not everybody that you call your friend or everybody that you engage with that you're nice to that will return the favor, I guess. I don't know if I'm articulating it well. So even during my gap years in my workplace, I was the quiet person, and it got to a point where it made it hard for me to navigate even my job spaces as a black woman, because I'm like, okay, I don't feel comfortable in the space being, you know, out there. Like, I don't want to talk too much. Like, I don't want to share too much about my personal life or my business because I don't know these people, and I don't know if I can trust these people at work, because you don't know what people at work are saying about you behind your back, right? Or what they really think about you. So I've kind of always like had this natural distrust, and honestly, it's gotten worse after my first year of medical school. And I think it's so unfortunate because part of the reason why I have this platform, part of the reason why I love sharing who I am, my journey, is obviously to help you guys and help you guys navigate your journey to medicine. But it was also like a growing activity for me of like learning how to trust the world and trust people with parts of my journey that I may not always be proud to share about, or I may not always feel comfortable sharing, right? And I think that's why people gravitate towards me, because I'm very honest and upfront about my experience, whether it be good or bad, right? I have no shame in the grades I got in college. I'm more than happy to share that. I have no shame in the things I did to get into medical school. Like, I can talk about my activities, all that kind of stuff. I'm so comfortable doing that. And I really created this platform because I wanted to push myself to like say, Seun, if you want to have meaningful relationships, if you want to engage with the world differently, you have to let your guard down and trust people, right? So that's part of the reason why I even have this platform where I do the get readies with me and I do all these things, because I'm also trying to like have some personal growth here as well, where I'm learning to be more open and trusting other people with my story and trusting that they receive my story and receive who I am with good intention. Does that always happen? Obviously not. And the truth of the matter is there's 1 billion people in this world, and not every single person is going to like you or like what you're doing. And at the same time, I'm learning that because of my platform and because I have a pretty huge platform, I have a lot more responsibility than other people. Like, a lot more. And I think this year really taught me that, because before, to be honest, like, I don't even think that I'm not even that big, right? Like, I have like 8,000 followers, all of the followers, which I love, and like 12,000 here, but like I'm not even that big. But I guess before my followers went up, I just never really thought about the responsibility I have as someone who is choosing to share my story on a public platform. And baby, this year taught me that when you make the decision to be a leader, when you make the decision to put yourself out there, when you make the decision to be a role model for others and set the standard and trailblaze, you are no longer like everyone else. You are held to way higher standards, and people will inevitably look at you differently, even people who probably shouldn't. Because of all these roles I have in different aspects of my life, I am placed to a higher and a different standard than everyone else, and I have different expectations of how I should respond to things. And what bothers me the most about that is that I still have to keep it cute, classy, professional. I still have to maintain my composure and take the high road even when people hurt me or betray my trust. And that is such a frustrating lesson I learned, because I'm just like, I don't even get to be angry the same way a regular person could be angry. Like, I have to be very reserved, calm, and calculated about how I move. It's crazy. And honestly, the thing is that we are all human beings. We all have feelings, emotions. We all do things to others to hurt people, and we also are hurt by people. And it is natural in human nature to want to hurt people back or do twice as bad as what someone did to you. I think that's a very human nature, and like, we all fall victim to it. Let's be honest. I think everyone can say once in their life they've probably said something or done something to hurt somebody else back. And one thing I'm learning is that because I have the power and a public platform to hurt people back, I can't. Like, it's even more important for me to like be, who is texting me? Oh, I got a package. It's even more important for me to just, I guess what I'm trying to say, and I hope I'm trying to articulate myself well, but when they go low, we have to go high. And that's something that I have learned. That's something I feel like for the most part I've embodied, but I learned it in a different kind of way. And it was very necessary for me to learn it because it forced me to reflect on myself, and it forced me to look in the mirror and think about, okay, how can I think it's very hard to articulate because it's very obvious that like I'm bothered, there's something that's bothering me in my heart, and I'm learning how to deal with it in a very different way. And at the end of the day, I've decided and chosen that I always have to choose my peace, and that there are going to be people in the world that do things, and it's not a reflection of you, but it's more a reflection of them and what they got going on. That is like the biggest thing I learned. And I think that's what I'm trying to say, is that even when you engage with people who don't float your boat, or people who you're just not seeing eye to eye with, you cannot allow them to get the worst of you, and you have to keep it, especially if you are in a place of leadership, a place of position, you have to keep it cute. I think another thing I've learned this year is that when you do things for people and when you treat people nicely, or you do favors for people, whatever, you cannot expect anything in return, and you should not be doing anything with expectation that people will remember the good things you've done for them. And it's not that I ever, go around doing nice things or whatever so that, oh, this person, will help me in the future, whatever. But I'm the kind of person that like, I don't forget the things that people have done for me in my life. And I'm one of those people that I am super grateful of all the different people I've come across in my life, because they have helped my journey into medicine in some kind of way. Like, that's the kind of person I am. I always give, like, every time I check in with my mentors, people from college, or people who just did something that seems small in my journey, I always remind them and I thank them. I'm like, I'm so grateful you support me. I still want to update you on what's going on. For me, it's very, very important not to forget the people who made you who you are today. And I expect that of other people, and I'm learning that you cannot project your expectations of how people should behave onto them. Like, you just can't. And when you do things for people, you're doing it for God. That's really what it is. You are doing it for God. You're not doing it to get anything in return. I just feel like there were so many things and people that frustrated me this year, and I just think some of the things that happened this year, particularly second semester, really just taught me that emotional intelligence and maturity in medical school is so important and so underestimated, and I don't hear anybody talk about this. I feel like when you hear people talk about how hard medical school is, or when you hear people talk about this and that, no one ever talks about like how immaturity does exist in medical school, and not everybody you engage with is adult enough, like has that emotional intelligence, maturity to be able to engage with other people or different people. You need to have the ability to be very self-aware. You need to be very self-aware of your feelings, how your feelings and your emotions inform your behaviors, how you treat other people, how you see other people, how you perceive other people. It is so important to have that self-awareness, and it's so important. It's such an important skill to be able to self-reflect and self-evaluate on everything. It's so important, and that's why I always scream and tell people, like, before you even start medical school, go to therapy. Like, it's so important. Like, I was in therapy all through college, even in my gap years, and really the biggest thing therapy taught me was how to get to know myself better, and how to be able to look in the mirror and determine when I need to take accountability for things, or how I could have, should have, would have approached different situations, or how my emotions and my feelings and the way I live and my experiences shape how I look at the world and other people. Never underestimate that. It is so important, and the only place you can seriously do that self-reflection and self-growth is in therapy. is in therapy. So this is not the first time I've said this. I'm pretty sure I've said this on other videos too. Like, it is so important to go to therapy, even if you don't feel like there's anything wrong with you. There is nothing wrong with getting to know yourself better and learning how to be secure in who you are. Like, major keys. And I was at brunch with some childhood friends the other day. Like, I'm talking, these are girls I've known for like 15 plus years, so they know me, they know how I am, they know, you know, because I'm a very complex person. I think I'm a great person, but I have my own, you know. Nobody is perfect, and these are people that I like literally grew up in the church with. So we were having brunch, just talking, and we're all catching up, you know. One just graduated from her master's program, another just got a job offer. Like, we're just catching up on adult things in life and how everyone is doing, what's going on in everyone's life. And in that moment, I realized I've learned that you cannot take your friends for granted, and you should not take your real friends for granted, you know. And I also realized the things I value in myself and in other people, and I realize I value friends and people who have emotional stability, who have emotional intelligence, and people who can call me out on my ish and tell me that, Sean, you know you messed up here, you know you should have handled this a very different situation, and also be able to take accountability for themselves and be like, yeah, I definitely messed up. And one particular friend, like, it honestly, it was something that, like, it was an epiphany for me, but at the same time, it was like certain things just constantly kept confirming that for me. Because even before I brunch, I had went out to vacation with one of my friends, and like, again, it was confirmed to me, like, wow, like, I really want people around me who can take feedback with love, who can take accountability, but can also say, like, hey, you know, I can own my ish, but you two also own your ish, you know. And I'm recognizing that those are the kind of people I want around me. And I got back into therapy, and one of the things me and my therapist were talking about is it is so important to know my own values and know what I want for myself, because when I am grounded in who I am and the kind of people I want to surround myself with, I can easily be able to kind of like pulse check people and already make decisions like, okay, this person is not aligned with my values, so I'm going to keep a distance, you know. It was just a lesson that just kept getting confirmed for me, you know. And I was just like, wow, like, this has really been, like, I feel like the root issue I've had. There are people that I engage with that are not willing to look in the mirror. They're not willing to just step back and take accountability for the role they play. They're not willing to grow up. That's really what it is. They are not willing to grow up. And I realized that I cannot tolerate people who project their insecurities onto me. I cannot. And I refuse to assume that responsibility, because that's not my problem. Don't get me wrong, I am not perfect. I am far from perfect. Anyone who really, really knows me intimately can tell you that, like, I'm a whole baby pterodactyl, you know. But the difference is I can own it, you know. I can own it, and I can not maybe happily say, but I can acknowledge that there are things I have to work on, and I actively acknowledge them, and I'm always working on them, you know. That's what therapy is for, to work on these things. But I just can't deal with people. I can't be around people who don't have that same ability. And I'm realizing that I have expectations of people that are just, I don't want to use the word are unrealistic, but I'm recognizing I can't make assumptions of what people think I expect of them, if that makes sense. Like, I cannot make that assumption. It's either I have a clear conversation or I don't make the assumption at all. And I think one of the hardest things for me that, like, I've actually just learned in general, or I'm just realizing in general, is that people are going to make judgments about me and what they think I'm like or who they think I am based off of what they see on social media. Like, that's what's gonna that's the risk you take when you put yourself on such a public platform. Like, people are already gonna have preconceived notions about you. They either pick and choose things about you that will either confirm or that will either prove that preconceived notion right, or whatever the case may be. And I think that's become a source of frustration for me, where it's like the people who knew me or met me before my public platform didn't really make any preconceived judgments or notions about me. So it's like, whatever you saw is what you got, and you get what you get, and you don't get upset. And I'm learning that I cannot expect, ooh, my lace front is lifting. I'm learning I can't expect that same grace anymore. And it's frustrating because one of the things I was talking to my therapist about is like, well, now how do I navigate spaces and how do I make friends post having a social media platform when it's like people are already gonna have this idea of who I am or determine who I am based off of what they see. Like, I can't control that, you know, or I can't change that. So then how do I move through this world making friends in the future? And honestly, I don't even think she gave me an answer. I can't even remember. But it was just like, it came back to the whole thing of like, well, when you're grounded in who you are and you know your values and you know the things that you know what you value, and you're secure and you're strong in who you are, like, you'll be able to find the people that match your frequency or your energy. So really all this has is, it's really just become like a life learning lesson for me, constantly reviewing my values and what I care about and what I want, and being able to incorporate that into how I choose to engage with the world. And I was talking to like a physician about this, and he was just like, it's really important, more so for you and your future medical career, because in medicine, in your career, and like, you're going to be big, you know, like, you are destined for greatness. And the truth is, you're going to engage with a lot of different kind of people, and you have to like be able to maintain this like very classy type of professionalism, even if this person like irks you, or even if this person is talking out their neck sideways, or whatever the case may be. I still have to be the one to like maintain that level of decorum, because I cannot give anyone any like kind of ammunition to prove their preconceived notions about me correct. And the truth of the matter is, if you are going to be a physician, especially a physician to color, you have to learn to be cool, calm, and collect, and keep a positive energy no matter what, because the moment you switch up, you become the angry black insert whatever here. That's exactly what happened. And I don't know if you can probably tell, this is a different kind of get ready with me, because there is a lot of like hurt in what I'm speaking about and where I'm coming from. And I can wholeheartedly say that I am not fully over the situation, nor am I fully over at that space of total and wholehearted forgiveness, but at least I'm like having the conversation and being open about where I am in that stage. And I'm just learning to vet people before I let them into my world. I'm just learning to be very centered in my values, who I am, but I'm also learning not to let the future people I meet or engage with pay for the hurt that other people in the past caused me. That's something I've been thinking a lot about, and it comes back to this thing of like distrust. When people do something to break your trust, it makes it so hard for you to trust anybody else. I'm trying to create this fine balance where I'm like, I'm gonna keep you at an arm's length, but that doesn't mean that this new person I'm about to meet, I'm gonna give them that same energy, and I haven't given them a chance, right? So I'm not saying it's easy, but we move with the spirit, we move. And I'm just sharing these things with you guys, not because I'm trying to be like, oh, this is what happened, because I'm not even going to talk about like any specific situations or anything like that, but I can only talk about the lessons I learned and the takeaways I've gotten from these things I've learned in school. Because the hardest thing for me by far this year for medical school was not academic. It was really just learning how to balance how I exist in different spaces, how I engage with other people, and how I can be able to tell the difference between I did something wrong versus this person has their own personal problems that they need to deal with, you know? Because I take things so personally. And it's so weird. And I think it's because I have a social media platform that I'm even more hyper aware of how people perceive me in real life, you know? I'm sharing this with you guys because I just want you guys to hear my experiences, and this is the stuff that nobody talks about. Like, I literally was on the phone with one of my friends at a med school yesterday, and we were just chatting about our year, and we literally had some of the same reflections where we both struggled, you know, from a social standpoint at school. We both talked about things of like, wow, nobody ever talks about this part of medical school and how it's hard and how do you navigate it, how do you go through these spaces and stuff like that, you know? Do my lashes off camera, so I even forgot where I left off with you guys. But I think the point I was just trying to make is that you really need to take the time to invest in your own personal growth. Like, That is the biggest thing and the best thing you can do for yourself before medical school and throughout medical school. Learn how to be emotionally astute. Learn how to be grounded in who you are and your values, so that you can't be shaken up by other people. Because when I tell you, human beings will try you. They will try you. But it's also important to be that friend who pushes other friends to look in the mirror and to own up and take accountability for the things that they could have done better, for ways that they can grow. Because a real friend is willing to tell you about yourself even when you're not willing to hear it. But also remove yourself from people and circles who aren't willing or ready to put in the work to grow or look in the mirror and be better for themselves. You don't need those kind of people in your life either, you know, because there are some people in this world, they are not ready to grow up, and that is not your problem. That is never your problem. And hey, when I tell you one thing I've learned, like, you guys are just gonna have to entertain me for this one thing. One thing I've learned this year is that people can jealous you. Like, people can actually be jealous of you, and that informs how they engage with you, how they treat you, and what they do up to you, what they say about you behind your back. It's always kind of, it's never something I actively thought about. And it wasn't until I was talking to some of my friends, my non-med friends, I was just, or even some of my med friends actually, I was just talking to them, just thinking like, yeah, this is, what's going on, this is how I'm feeling, like how could I have handled this situation better, or like, what did I do wrong go in this situation, like, what's, like, just trying to get some perspective, right? Because one thing about Oluwa Seun is I will ask my friends what I could have done better. Ask any friend who knows me that I'm always gisting them about the things happening in my life. They will always tell you, I go to them to ask them, what could I have done better? How could I have approached the situation better? Or like, damn, was I at fault at the situation? And that's one thing all my friends can vouch for me and say that I do. That because I constantly like talk through and go through different scenarios to figure out how could this have played out differently. And one thing I'm learning for myself personally is I shouldn't get to the point where I'm going back and reflecting on a situation of how I could handle it differently. I should always be intentional and work and be preventative of like thinking about, okay, what are all the different ways this can go if I do this versus this. So that's on me. So that's something I'm working on. But when I would talk to my friends, there was this one thing that just kept coming up with different people I was talking to, and they were all like, okay, Sean, we get this and that, but you also have to realize that you are in a position that people can be intimidated by or envious of. Like, you have to like just pause for a moment and recognize that. And I'm just like, what position am I in that nobody else can put themselves in that position? There's nothing I am doing special that other people cannot do if you put in the work, if you have the drive, if you have the motivation to do it. So for me, it's like, what is there even to jealous about me? And like, if you're gonna jealous whatever you see on the face surface level, you need to jealous everything else that happens behind the scenes, because my life hasn't been easy, and you don't know what I'm going through or what I've been through to get to where I am. So if you're gonna be jealous, make sure you're jealous of the trauma too, right? Make sure you're jealous of the other things that you don't see. And when they kept telling me this, I started thinking about it a lot more. I was like, could this be why this person is acting somehow, or why this person is doing that, or why this person is doing that? And I realized that like it may very well be, and it may very well be that the other person hasn't even come to terms with that fact, And and I don't even like talking about this because this comes across so like arrogant, But my friends kept bringing up of like, hey girl, like, you're doing big things, you're a pretty big deal, like, people know you did this and this, so like the way you move has to be different, it just has to be different. And it's so hard and challenging because I've obviously, we're all human, I've obviously been jealous of people before, and I've learned through me being jealous of other people and me not being content with what I have, or me wanting what other people have, I've learned that, Sean, you don't know what that person is going through to have what they have. You can say, oh yeah, you wish you had this, or you wish you did this, or you wish that you were in this position like they are in, but you also don't know what came with that. You don't know what kind of sacrifice came with that. So if you're going to be jealous, you don't even know what you're jealous of, because you don't know the full picture. It's just something that I've realized that I'm going to have to deal with throughout my career. People are going to be intimidated even though I feel like I am, okay, let me not say I'm the least intimidating person, because if you meet me in person, sometimes I can be very just like reserved, you know, just quiet, just kind of keep a straight face. But honestly, I'm a sweetheart. Like, once you actually talk me up, I'm just like such a sweetheart. And for me, it's like, what's been frustrating, I think what's hurt me the most is that I haven't gotten the same benefit of the doubt that other people get. And I honestly think it's because of my social media platform. So people already come in with this preconceived idea of who I am, or who they want me to be, or who they think I am. And then when it doesn't look that full picture in person, they're looking for something to now like make them want to, people just want to find a reason to be upset. That's what I've come to learn, that people just want to find a reason to be upset, and I don't know why, and I don't know what is paining people, you know. And I've had to learn to recognize the difference between someone acting a certain way towards me because I genuinely did something wrong and I wasn't able to take accountability for it, versus people being upset with me because they want to be upset with me. Like, and I can't assume responsibility for how other people choose to see me or engage with me. Like, I can't, and I won't, and I'm not gonna come and kill myself for anybody, because honestly, I'm the kind of person, I take a lot of things personal, and I take so many things personal because I think about them as reflections of me, of like, oh, did I do something wrong? Did I do something bad? Like, am I a bad person? How could I fix this? Like, I always take things so personally, and I think I've had to learn that, you know, at some point when you've done all you can't take anything personal anymore, and that people are going to choose how they want to engage with you, and you cannot control that. You know, there's nothing you could do on heaven, on earth, that's going to change that. So when I say medical school took me out, it took the girls out. I just had to grow, and I've learned a lot about myself. I've learned a lot about other people. I've learned that I just have to be better for myself, and I have to be better because I am a leader. I have to be better because there are people looking up to me, and I can only set a good example. And that's the biggest things I've taken away, and that I'm just like, you know what? It is what it is. So I'm really using the rest of the summer to kind of like, when you just need to get, when you're upset about something, you just have to get it out your system, and you have to allow yourself to feel all the pain, feel all the hurt, feel all X, Y, and Z before you like move on. That's kind of what I'm doing this summer. And I'm also learning to not stress myself out. I'm learning to choose peace. And the best advice I got is that you just kill with kindness, and when they go low, you go high. Someone had responded to one of my stories on Instagram, and they were like, oh sis, you better than me, because when they go low, I go to hell. And I was like, no, we are children of God. We do not want to go to hell. I've learned a lot about human beings, and I think that is the beauty of life, that we're constantly learning about ourselves, about how we choose to engage with the world. I'm also learning I'm not perfect either. Like, I'm learning, I mean, I already knew that, but like, we all need humble checks, you know? Kind of what I've resolved is that I am always going to strive to be a better version of me. I can't change the past. I can't change how people feel about me. I can't change the hurtful things people have done to me. I can't change potentially the hurtful things I've done to people. Like, I can't do all of that. But one thing about me is I'm gonna learn from a situation. And then tell y'all the hard lessons I learned, so you guys don't make the same mistake. It's so important to talk about this because nobody talks about this. And like, literally a couple weeks ago, actually, or maybe like a month or so ago, I was on live with a med student, and we were literally just talking about how medical school is like high school, which blows my mind, because I'm just like, we are all grown adults in graduate school. Why is it actually like high school all over again? And for those who don't know, I hated my high school experience. Like, high school was not the best time for me at all. And maybe I should do like just like a YouTube video about just kind of like my journey to medicine and kind of like my life and stuff, just to kind of give you guys insight into like who I am and where I come from, and kind of what informs the way I see the world and the way I think. Because for me, high school was tough. High school was not cute. We got through it. We understood the assignment. We did what needed to be done in high school, and we left. Can you imagine for me, 6 years later, to put myself back in that same situation? God forbid. No one talks about the social aspect of life, and I'd be really interested to interview other med students to kind of see like what their experiences were like, what surprised them about medical school, what they were expecting, what they weren't expecting, because this is definitely something the girls was not expecting. And when I said they showed me Pepe this year, it's okay. But I know who I am. The people who are important know who I am. The people in power know who I am. And I have situated myself and put myself in a place where I'm not going to allow anyone to make me look bad. And I too am not going to do anything that's going to make myself look bad, because I'm thinking about my future patients. I'm thinking about myself. I'm thinking about my family. I'm thinking about people around me when I do things. Like, I'm not stupid. So the girls learned this year. She really did. She really did. Okay, lace front, I hope my camera doesn't embarrass me. Lace front, I hope my camera doesn't embarrass me. Hey, fine girl, fine babe, fine Nigeria girl. Wow, I don't rate myself enough, honestly. Like, I do not rate myself enough. And one of the things I've been practicing, especially this summer, is really just like boosting myself up and boosting my confidence and reminding myself who I am, you know, because if you're not careful, people will make you forget who you are, and people will do things to distort how you see yourself or how you think you see reality. Ask anyone who knows me. This entire summer, I've been practicing hyping myself up. Like, I'll just be like, Seun, do you know who you are? You've accomplished this. You've done this. You are doing this. You are doing this. God is blessing you in this way. You are doing, like, I just have to hype myself up. I have to ginger myself. I really do, because nobody else is going to do it for you. And if you are not confident in yourself, you'll just be washed away with the ocean. Anyway, Sha, the girl is looking fine. Hey, whoever is going to be at my pre-med Zoom party tonight, we'll see. Fire. Wow. The girls is looking cute, and I love it. I absolutely am in love. I'm so beautiful. Like, I'm so beautiful. And there's some times where I'm just like, there's so many things about me I want to change, but when I do these get ready with me and then I look at the final product, I'm just like, you did that, sis. You are doing that, sis, and you will continue to do that with God's blessing. She's done it again. Like, and maybe, and I don't know. I don't rate myself enough, and I don't hype myself enough, because I'm an amazing person. I do amazing things. I am not perfect, but my heart, when I tell you, like, I can never wish an evil thing for anyone in my body. Like, even the people that I don't care for, you know? Like, I am just someone that I'm always, when it matters most, I look out for you. I look out for all of y'all, my pre-med peoples. I'm always putting y'all on, telling y'all the real ish, telling y'all advice, all this kind of stuff. Like, the girl is too good. The girl is too good. She's too beautiful. Oh, man. My husband is in for a treat. Listen. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know it was a bit of there was some energy in this video. I can acknowledge that. And I think I can also acknowledge, even as I was making this video and thinking about how to talk about this thing, I don't think I'm fully at a place of like healing or being over certain things, but I think I'm at a place where I realize what needs to be done to move forward, and I know what needs to be done for me to protect my peace and for me to continue to exist in the spaces I do. And I also am learning that I have a huge responsibility, not only to myself but people around me, and I have to think about every action I take, every decision I make, and really just how I move, you know? So big lessons I learned this year is that medical school will F you up. She won't tell you how. For some people, maybe academics. For other people, maybe social. For other people, maybe emotional. Whatever the case may be. She's not going to tell you what she's going to do, but she will F you up, okay? I'm just using the summer to enjoy my life, do nothing, really just recover from the burnout that was medical school. And the girls is moving into her own apartment next week. I'm super excited. I've never lived alone, so that's super exciting. I'll probably do some kind of apartment tour or something. But the girls is excited. I have another month before school starts, and I am going to savor each day, because when school gets back up, it's some real ish. You know, I'm going to start thinking about step one. I'm going to be thinking about school, clinical sites, all that kind of stuff. So I'm just taking it a day at a time. I'm enjoying myself now. Hot girl summer. The moment that cardio exam was done, I commenced my hot girl summer. Okay, so hot girl summer will continue to commence. And yeah, please be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe if you're not subscribed to me already. Click the notification bell so you know when the girls is back on the internets posting another video. Follow me on the Instagrams at @theprettymed_. Come to my pre-med Zoom parties. We still have like 5-6 sessions this summer, so come to them. I posted some of them on YouTube. And just be well, be happy, but at the end of the day, take care of yourself and do what is best for your mental health, because if you are not where you need to be, you can't do anything for other people. So take care of yourself, be well, and I will see you guys in another freaking video. Ooh, fine girl. Oh yeah, give them shoulder, hey, give them shoulder, hey, fine girl, no pimple. We have one here, but it doesn't matter, man. I'm feeling good. I'm happy that school is over, so yeah.